We live in a world full of noise, likes, opinions, expectations. Everyone has something to say about who you should be, what you should do, and how you should live. But here's the truth most people never realize until it's too late, when you live for others. You lose yourself. This is the story of Ethan, a young man from New York, successful on paper, but silently falling apart inside. Ethan had what most people would call a great life. He lived in Manhattan, worked at a prestigious marketing firm, and earned enough to dine where he pleased. His Instagram was filled with smiles, success, and city lights, but behind that Ethan was exhausted. Every decision, his career, his friends, even the clothes he wore, was shaped by what others thought. His parents wanted a son who was stable. His friends wanted someone fun. His boss wanted someone fearless. And somewhere between their expectations, Ethan disappeared. At night, when he took off his suit and sat by the window, watching the yellow taxis blur by, he felt an emptiness that no paycheck could fill. "Why am I doing all this?" he whispered to himself one evening. "Who am I even trying to impress?" One morning, after another long presentation at work, Ethan's boss pulled him aside. "Good job, Ethan, the client's happy. But next time, try smiling more. You look too serious." That single line broke something in him. He walked home through the crowded streets and past honking cars and glowing billboards and felt invisible. It was as if he was living a life scripted by everyone but himself. That night he didn't go out. He didn't check his phone. He just sat in silence and realized he hadn't made a single genuine choice in years. The next morning, Ethan skipped work. He wandered into a small cafe in Brooklyn, quiet, full of books and old jazz music. At a corner table sat an old man sketching something in a notebook. His calmness stood out like light in a storm. Ethan sat nearby. When the man noticed him, he smiled. "Rough morning?" Ethan laughed bitterly. "You could say that." The man nodded. "You look like someone who's been living everyone else's dream but his own." Ethan froze. "How do you know?" The old man pointed to his eyes. "You can always tell. The eyes of people-pleasers never rest. They're always searching for approval." He turned his sketch pad around. It showed a bird inside a cage, the door wide open but the bird sitting still inside. "Sometimes," the old man said, "the cage isn't locked. It's just familiar." Ethan stared at the drawing and something in him cracked open. The next day, Ethan didn't quit his job. Not yet. He just decided to take a small step, 1 hour a day to himself. No screens, no work, no expectations. He began sketching again, something he hadn't done since college. He took walks without music. He cooked meals not for posting, but for tasting. It felt strange at first, like learning to breathe again. But slowly, the noise faded. He started to hear his own thoughts, quiet, patient, honest, and for the first time he began to like who he was. Of course, not everyone understood. His boss asked why he stopped staying late. His friends joked that he was going soft. His parents worried he was throwing away a good career. For a while, Ethan doubted himself. Maybe they were right. Maybe he was being foolish. But then he remembered the old man's sketch. The cage isn't locked. So he smiled and kept walking his path, quietly, steadily, 1 step at a time. Months passed. Ethan began freelancing, designing brand art and visuals instead of crunching data reports. He started posting his art online, not for likes, but for expression. To his surprise, people loved it. His art went viral, not because he tried to impress anyone, but because it was real. He was finally living his life. And one evening, while walking by the East River, watching the sunset reflect on the water, he whispered, "I finally feel free." Ethan returned to the cafe months later, hoping to find the old man. But the corner seat was empty. On the table lay a single piece of paper, a sketch of a bird flying beyond the city skyline. Beneath it were 4 words: "Live, don't perform." "A friend," Ethan smiled. The lesson was complete. Life will always have voices, loud, demanding, and endless. They'll tell you who to be, what to want, how to live. But if you keep obeying them, you'll never hear your own. The truth is, the world doesn't need another version of someone else. It needs you, so stop living for others. Stop chasing their applause. Stop trying to fit their picture of success. Because you're not here to impress the world. You're here to express your soul. Maybe this story finds you at the right time. Maybe you've been pretending for too long, smiling when you're tired, agreeing when you want to scream, performing when you just want to breathe. Let this be your reminder. You are not your title. You are not your followers. You are not what others think of you. You are you. And when you start living that truth, you'll finally be free. Moral of the story. You don't owe the world perfection. You owe yourself authenticity. Live your truth even if it makes noise, because peace lives in your silence, not in their approval.